X-Men arcade game. This is definitely the first time that I got Jay here, and we're recording this.
Hey, everybody.
Yeah. A little known fact, my buddy Jay is also a big comic book geek. He loves the X-Men, I love the X-Men, we all love Australian Wolverine X-Men. And we're going to play our X-Men the arcade game.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be
the first
great.
time ever.
It's going to be great. Look at those action lines. This is 80s.
No, yeah, it's intense.
So there you go. We're going to do it. 1992. Spend some fucking quarters. It's going to do it. Spend all the quarters. We came to the arcade with pockets full of change. I mean, I guess that's fine. I'm going to psych it up.
Hold on, wait.
No, you got to catch up. Alright, exactly. Yeah. You good?
Well, let me go over and pick anybody else.
Yeah, I think you can. Oh, shit, no! Those are the characters we wanted to play. Welcome to Die. There's Magneto, he's evil. 21st century and things, whatever they said. Fucking Sentinels that he took over. They're wrecking shit. Shazam and things. There's Kitty Pryde.
Go and save the city.
There's the very, like, early 80s, mid-80s X-Men. This game is basically an exact, well, almost, based on the fucking, like, late 80s X-Men pilot. That was very interesting.
So, yeah, interesting.
To
We'll
say
use
the
the word
least.
interesting.
Yeah. It was very weird. It was very 80s, very cheeseball. Someone decided Wolverine was Australian, not Canadian.
They were just prophetic. That's all
Yeah,
they were.
they just, you know. Well, I mean, that's true. Hugh Jackman, Australia.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do a little surprise people with a fucking optic glass right there. Show them your muscles real quick, Jay. Give them your. Boom! Look at those muscles. Yeah.
Just some energy apparently from changing the metal.
So I don't know what happened, but they didn't turn that pilot into a series. Thank God. I mean, I still would have liked it, but then we got like the '92 X-Men that was good instead.
Which is great.
Yeah. Dude, fucking. These Sentinels are a little small. Normal Sentinels are much bigger, but I mean, you could. Maybe that was also prophetic. They knew that in like 96, 97, they were going to have like Nano Sentinels. They were going to have like little Omega Sentinels.
Well, in like the original like Sentinel appearance, they were kind of just like 12 feet tall.
They weren't mega
they weren't
30,
super,
like
yeah.
30 feet tall. But these guys are like, you're bigger than them, yeah.
Well, Colossus.
These are like Herald size Sentinels. Shout out to Herald. I mean, honestly, they're about as effectual and threatening as Herald too, so. Not that I'm trying to say that he's not effectual and threatening. He is. He's really scary.
I like the fact that you can punch people on the ground in this game.
Yeah. These fucking Sentinels, bro. Alright, I think we got a first boss. Spoilers, it's Pyro. Pyro.
Actually Australian.
Actually Australian. Little known fact about Pyro, in his spare time, he actually writes cheesy romance novels. That's how he makes his living when he's not just stealing money with flames. They also, spoilers, fuck off. They killed him off in the 90s. They had an analog to the AIDS virus called the Legacy virus, and he got it. He was one of the first people to die from it. And that was sad. Even though he was a shitbag villain. He was never like an evil villain.
He was
more of a slime ball villain.
Side note on the Legacy virus. Colossus' sister
Oh,
contracts it.
shit.
Colossus bravely sacrifices himself.
He does. Shout out to like 1999 or whenever that happened. They never, I mean, this is getting into dark territory where I start bitching about post-2000 X-Men, which is going to happen
We'll keep it to a slight minimum.
I'm going to try to rein it in. But I'm just going to say that, yeah, I wasn't happy that they killed him off, but it made sense.
Yeah.
Because he was, spoilers, he was fucking miserable, because the writers fucked Colossus in the ass in the 90s. His sister died of the Legacy virus, and then his parents were randomly murdered by Omega Red, and so he had nothing. And then he joined the fucking Acolytes, Magneto's Acolytes. He was kind of a villain for a little bit, and just he had nowhere to go. And then he was part of Excalibur for a bit, and then he was fucking X-Men again. And he was, he was fine, but he was kind of a shell. Like his 70s, 80s self was very vibrant, and his 90s self was like, kind of lost, you know.
But it was the 90s, and
everything had to be extreme or
yeah.
dark in the 90s. Are we supposed to go live right now?
It's leading us left.
Alright. I got lost talking about things. But yeah, they had a thing where, like, the Dr. Moira McTaggart, fucking finally after she was the only non-mutant human to have the legacy virus, and she fucking contracted it, and she locked herself in a chamber, and she was trying to find a cure forever, and then she finally found it, but then the terrorist Mystique, whatever, fighting for whatever, killed her for some reason, because she didn't want her to cure it, or I don't know, and so, like, Beast managed to recover it, but he discovered that the only way to activate it was the same way that it got in the atmosphere in the first place, which was for a mutant to die from the thing. And so Colossus, without anyone's consultation, decided to kill himself and cure the virus, blah, blah, blah. And so it was like a very, you know,
it was very emotional,
a poignant death. It sucked that
hero's
he died.
death.
Yeah, it sucked that he died, but it meant something. And then a few years later, when fucking Joss Whedon came along, oh no, he's alive, he's fine. I'm like, no, you can't do that. I mean, yeah, I know comics are notorious for bringing people back from the dead, but like, no, leave Colossus dead. If you're gonna,
well, back then they weren't quite so. They didn't use that trick so much.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Now it's starting to feel like it's a one-trick pony.
Like
and everybody fucking dies every other issue.
Sure, like the Jean Grey thing. People, mainly because of the cartoon, to be fair, but a lot of people really honestly thought that Jean Grey had been the Phoenix before, like, 2000, and that she had, like, it was a thing that she kept dying and coming back. And I'm like, no, that literally never happened. You can argue that she kind of died a little and came back one time after their X Factor retcon, which I'll get to that in a bit. They established that she had never actually died, that the Phoenix Force had taken her place and saved her life in exchange, and she was in a fucking cocoon for whatever, you know, how long that it took to heal her, because she was certainly on the cusp of death. And but she
sacrifices herself when it first manifests.
But she had never been Phoenix. Phoenix had taken Jean's form and pretended to be her. So that's that, and that's it. Her daughter. This gets complicated, so we'll leave it alone. But her daughter, Rachel Summers, legitimately had the Phoenix Force. Why not? Because why not? But that's a different thing, and she called herself Phoenix, and that's different.
If you are not a comic book fan, things get complicated a lot.
Don't even get into Cable.
Oh, Cable.
Yeah, Cable.
You know, I'm interested to see in the second Deadpool movie
if they have him.
Well, they're pretty much planning on having him.
Sure.
What they're going to do for his origin story, if they're just going to like give you a Wikipedia link.
I want it to be Danny DeVito as Cable.
No.
I mean, not really, but it'd be funny though. Like in a universe where I don't give a shit about casting, like why not? Yeah.
And there's no offense to Danny DeVito. I'm sure he's doing an excellent job.
Here's the Blob. Nobody can move the Blob. And he needs
except for that part where I just moved him. And I punched him in his fucking face a couple of times.
Boom. Take that.
We had a good system going. I'm sorry. I died. You knock him down, I just punch him in the fucking face a whole bunch.
I thought nobody could move you, Blob.
And the telltale sign that you're getting close to defeating your boss enemy. Flashing.
Yeah, the fucked up games are the ones that don't flash, don't give you flashes.
How do you even know?
Yeah, no light bar, no flash. Good old Frederick J. Dukes. Psychic powers abound! What happened to him? Who punched him in the mouth?
I think he's using the psychic powers so
well. No. Fucking Brotherhood showed up.
I punched him.
I'd like to point out for nerdery's sake that Juggernaut and, like, White Queen never worked for the Brotherhood. Ever. Just saying. I don't know who that guy is.
Well, they do eventually. But you stopped reading by the time.
No, Marvel went out of business in 2000. It's fine. Yeah. Boom. Okay. So, hey Jay.
Yes, Jesse.
What is your favorite X-Men? Fuck off. Your favorite X-Men period/writer? I know mine. I could go on.
You could.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I know your feelings about Chris Claremont.
I have two. Yeah.
I know your feelings about Chris Claremont.
Go ahead.
But his earlier stuff I like.
Sure.
When he starts rehashing a whole bunch.
Absolutely.
Which maybe isn't just Chris Claremont's fault.
No.
They let him stay on there for a very long time.
Too long. 16 years.
Yeah. And I almost feel that they probably kind of pigeonholed Claremont, didn't let him do a lot of things, is what it feels
Possibly.
like.
I mean, they did. In the 80s, they started doing. That's when they started doing all those like line-wide stories and shit. Chris Claremont was fine. He started fine in the 70s, and his 70s and early 80s shit were good-ish. He had his moments, like the Phoenix Saga and whatnot was handled pretty well. Killer Flowers for some reason, but I don't know. It definitely, after having read his entire run, I can say with authority that the further it got into the 80s, he just fucking went off the rails. He, at some point, like, it was very obvious that he didn't seem to care about telling X-Men stories anymore, and he just wanted to tell stories about alternate dimensions, and demons, and aliens, and magic, and whatever. Anything not X-Men, basically.
I mean, the relaunch, the 90s relaunch, is when I was getting into comic books.
Oh, absolutely.
So that probably is why it sticks out most.
Yeah.
You know, in my mind, as my favorite, one of my favorite eras. As far as mutant character writing, there's an author by the name of Rick Remender who did a run on X-Force, and he does a really excellent job. It's very long and drawn out, and some of those threads take a long time to pay off, but it's really good. Check it out. It's some good stuff. Also, check out Rick Remender's creator-owned stuff.
Like what?
If you're into comic books. He is on fucking fire right now.
Fire.
He has one of my favorite comic books on the stands right this instant is a comic book that's sort of semi-autobiographical in his own words. And it's called Deadly Class. It takes place in the 80s. And it's a kid, and he's in a class of deadly assassins.
Oh, there you go.
He's also doing a book called Black Science, which is some good, fun sci-fi action. And also a book titled Low, which is another kind of sci-fi.
Wendigo.
Sci-fi fun book.
If we had played this before, we would have explained that Wendigo is an old Hulk villain and Wolverine villain who is based on a Canadian myth about cannibalism. That if you eat people, you turn into this guy. Basically, you turn into a Wendigo creature.
Which doesn't look like much of a fun fate.
No.
And Wolverine's first appearance
in Hulk
180, 181.
Something, yeah.
I think it spans both. I think he briefly shows up at the end of 180.
Yeah.
And 181 is his
comically small ear things.
And a funny looking nose.
Yep.
Go and rescue Kitty from the cave.
Onward! We're in a cave now. So yeah, my favorite X-Men eras are, well, technically, my favorite X-Men period era is like the 90s. Like the X-Men cartoon is how I got into it. I wasn't really allowed to read comics until like 95 when I moved to where I live now. And like when I was around 13, 14 years old. But before that, I really got into superheroes and whatever period because of mainly, I watched like Spider-Man and Batman and whatnot, cartoons too, but X-Men was my jam. Like, that was my week. I looked forward to Saturday morning so I could see what would happen on the next episode of X-Men. And that cartoon was heavily influenced by, like, the 91 through 97, like, Scott Lobdell, who's my favorite writer, and Fabian Nicieza in the early 90s. Those were, like, the two main X-Men writers. Mainly Scott Lobdell. He's my favorite for what you said. He was the best I felt at characterization. He really got those characters. And he also wrote what I think are some of the best, arcs. In it, Claremont had made the X-Men too much about just ridiculous shit in the 80s. Like I said, alternate dimensions, fucking demons.
He liked his space.
And, yeah,
and
going to space and fighting Brood and whatever she are, aliens all over the place. People switching fucking bodies and going into fucking dimensional doorways and all this bullshit. And then the 90s, Lobdell really grounded it again in what it started as in the 60s, which was a social commentary, basically, an allegory for, you know, the downtrodden, and like that's when they introduced the legacy virus as an allegory for AIDS, and the X-Men mutants themselves were like an allegory for anybody who is ostracized by society or doesn't quite fit in. You know, and there was some really good stories that were grounded on Earth, and it was just mutants versus people who hate mutants, or like evil mutants who are fucking shit up, you know. And that was good stuff. That was definitely my favorite era.
I think really for anybody around our age group,
Yep.
who grew up in that time, the X-Men cartoon series,
Yep.
and Batman the Animated
Series.
To a lesser extent, Spider-Man.
Spider-Man was also good, and
good.
even though the quality wasn't great, even the Fantastic Four and Iron Man cartoons were alright. But yeah, like Batman had like the movie production style quality, and X-Men just had like good writing. And honestly, like, I've talked to people who have a retroactive memory where like, oh no, I like Batman because Batman was so dark. Honestly, comparing the two, now as an adult, X-Men cartoon, way darker. Thematically.
The thing about it is they handled those kind of things really well, too.
Subtly, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't...
But, I mean, they talked specifically about death. Characters get fucking killed. They had the whole AIDS legacy virus thing going on, even though they didn't make direct connections. They had a lot of the social commentary going on. I mean, it was pretty well written. Not always. There were some dumb episodes, but, like... Whereas Batman was dark, but people remember it being dark because it's literally visually dark.
And you know, and it's funny when you kind of like, when you're younger,
Yeah.
and you have some of your tastes are there, but you don't know the words for the taste.
Yep. Noir.
Because that noir aesthetic,
Yeah.
like I think is what drew me to Batman like so much.
Well, because for that cartoon, they definitely did like an Art Deco, like 30s, 20s, 30s style.
And if you're a Sentinel, why do you need to throw rocks?
Because that's what you do.
You have fucking laser hand.
Maybe these little guys don't. Yeah, maybe they're just
maybe.
baby Sentinels. Yeah.
You just kick him while he's down.
Kick them while he's down. Yeah. Oh, there's Kitty Pryde. There's fucking. I think this is supposed to be Nimrod, even though it doesn't totally look like him. I can't imagine who else it would be. He has a red face like Nimrod, and he's basically white, so whatever. It's Nimrod too. I don't know. Like, whatever, right?
They just had to kick their ass on that part.
Nimrod was one of Claremont's crazy 80s creations. He was a futuristic Sentinel.
Well, not futuristic. From the future.
Well, sure. He was from the future. He came back to the past with a time machine apparatus, and we beat his face in, and wanted to, kill me. Yeah,
like a Sentinel do.
As they do.